And I just want to thank everybody for joining today and welcome to the March meeting of the Orlando Modern Quilt Guild. I'm Deborah Jalbert, the Vice President. I just want to say welcome here today to our first non-business business guild meeting. So as I say that, just a couple of reminders, business related, that the email with the newsletter was sent out the other day, and there's a lot of social media buzz about your dues in the upcoming class on April 24th with Carolina Anito with Curves and Transparencies. So if you have any questions, the first place to look is probably the website or the newsletter that went out recently. And if you have any additional questions, you can email any of the board members. Or you could type something in the chat bar today, because I see that Marge is here today. And if you have any questions about the class, you can chat with Marge there, or you can actually ask them out loud now. Does anybody have any renewing your dues questions or questions about the class with Carolina Anito?
I can probably say something. I know there was some questions. I have a materials list, but as soon as I get the list of how many people are attending and who's attending, I will send that out. I know Debbie or Betty Baker was asking how big the quilt was going to be, the finished little piece of quilt, and it's going to be 15 by 20. So I'll get the list out in this week of what materials are needed.
Awesome.
Thanks, Marge. That was my question.
Okay.
And if we paid and we got a confirmation of the payment, then we should assume that we're in the class?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's still time to join, to sign up. So April 1st is the deadline. Then we'll open it up to non-members. So please join. It should be a nice class. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Marge.
Yes.
Quick, is this this is only available during the time period that she's going to be giving it, right? No,
that's correct. It's a class. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
I just got a text message from Kathy Aber. She's having trouble getting on. So is there somebody who's supposed to do something? She can't get in.
Does she have the password? She should be able to be allowed.
She sees, it says she seems to be waiting is what happens. That's her.
13,000.
That might be from her computer, honestly, because everyone is allowed in the meeting.
As long as they have the code, there's nothing else that you have to do. Okay.
Sometimes the computers, if you are, if you have a slower computer, sometimes it spins a little bit before it will actually rev up, but she definitely is allowed in. We don't have any restrictions on that, as long as she has the password.
Okay, I'll try calling her then. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to attempt my first time of screen sharing like this, and tell me if you see Orlando Modern Quilt Guild QuiltCon recap.
Looks good.
Great. So this is, we called it the QuiltCon recap, but it really is a recap of the quilts. Not so much about the website itself too much, but if you have any questions, just shout them out. We're not going to mute anybody. This is meant to be just conversational. So if you have questions, yell them out.
I have one comment. Everyone was muted, so if you have a comment, unmute yourself and chat, okay?
All right.
Sorry about that.
Feel free to unmute yourself at any point and stay unmuted and chat. Thanks.
Yeah. Let's chat. Let's have a conversation.
Let's chat. So I think that these were posted online, but you can go to the QuiltCon website, and already the winners from 2021 are up there. And you can see any previous QuiltCon winners. I love that they did this a few years ago. So you can just pull up any year and look at all of the winners. So we're going to start right with this quilt called Blooming, which was the best in show.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
So one of the great things about the website is I hope that you can see that this is a really good quality photo. And I just took a screenshot of it. And if I zoom in and look, I can clearly see her quilting. So I love the quality on the website of the photos. I mean,
They did a fabulous job, I think. It was wonderful.
yeah. So for those of you that weren't part of QuiltCon, when you looked at the quilts, you would see, you could have the option to see the front and the back and the maker. And then you could see there at the write-up from Emily Trahan from Quebec, Canada. She started this quilt in January 2019, and I'm not going to read that for you. I'm going to give you time to either read it yourself or have any comments, or I have the quilt again there in the bottom right.
So she made this with all upcycled fabrics. Oh my gosh. If you read the description, that's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so she wasn't just best in show, she was also judge's choice.
Wow.
So there's several quilts this year, and there was a couple last year too that received more than one award.
Can you go back to the big picture, Deborah?
I sure can, thanks. I was about to do that.
Let's see it again.
Anybody remember what size that was? I didn't look. Did it say the size? Blah, blah, blah. I don't see the size, but I think that on the website you could see the size.
Mm-hmm. Deserving of it for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so during the during QuiltCon, during the awards ceremony, what they did, I just lost my mouse, there it is. What they did was all or many of the top or first place winners, they called or Zoomed with a day or two before. So as they were presenting the winners during the awards, we saw like a 30-second, like, your quilt won first place, and what? We got to experience that. I can't remember who it was. There was somebody whose like eyes went really big, and it was probably what, 30 seconds of them just saying wow, and it felt really emotional and good.
It was really fun, this gal, because you saw her story where she was pregnant when she finished this quilt, and they had to call her earlier than everybody else about tell her that she won for this quilt because she's about to have another baby.
Right. So, yep. So she worked on this quilt while she had a newborn baby, and the quilt, she was, I mean, just, it's a good baby story.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of my favorite quilts of the show. Not my favorite, but one of them. It's called Corona Wedding Dish, and I'll go back to it. But you can see it's by Ben Darby. And I started following Ben and looked him up. And he's like unknown. So I loved that he probably had like 600 followers, just a regular quilter like most of the rest of us. I loved that about him. He talked about how he they also had during the show like a conversation with the winners during some of the lectures, and how he made these acrylic templates to make this quilt. Each of those spiky parts are individually paper pieced and improv'd and made. And he was just this like really sort of gentle, mild mannered guy during the conversation. I really enjoyed the conversation with Ben that they had during a lecture.
Deborah, I have a question. You were saying that you follow him on Instagram?
I do now, yeah.
Oh, okay. And is Ben Darby his tag on Instagram, or does he have a different one?
Well, that's a great question. Let me, I can look it up real quick while you're looking.
Yeah, thanks.
Because I don't think it's his name. I think it's something different.
Must not be his name because there's a million Ben Darbys.
Yeah, there are. I don't know. I might have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not planning to go anywhere.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Ben Darbys. But I will, if you email me to remind me, because I'll probably forget that I just said I'll get back to you. But yeah, I'll try to find him on Instagram. And it doesn't say his name there, but he's from Huntsville, Alabama.
What does frameless mean? Like it says best machine quilting frameless. You're not doing it on a long arm?
Domestic, it means domestic.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
there's on a frame and not on a frame.
Okay.
So I think not on a frame would also include a sit down long arm.
Oh, okay.
And just because I liked him, I put this quilt in there too. Everyone was in the loop, was just another quilt that he had in the show.
I could be wrong, but oh yeah, it says the size. I remembered that this was a small one.
Yeah, there it is, 20 by 20. I'm just gonna go back to it real quick. I don't know what I like about it. I like the background and the swirl of it, and that it was a challenge. I don't even know how he completed some of that, but I just liked it, so I threw that in because I could.
I like the lettering. I wonder how he did that.
Yeah, I wondered too. Like I couldn't zoom in enough to see how that he did the lettering on this particular quilt.
Mm-hmm.
So here is Mosh Pit at the Golden. And it was Best Machine Quilting Frame by Maria Schell. I'm just going to leave the large picture up there for just a minute. Now I know I've seen a lot of similar quilts like this that are super busy like this and bright and colorful. I know that I've seen them, so I don't know whose original idea this is, or if it's just sort of a fad.
Isn't that kind of like a Gwen Marston kind of work?
Yeah. I don't know if this style is sort of a popular fad right now of the log cabin craziness.
Is it too busy for you, Deborah?
No, it's not. I love it.
Because you know this was my favorite.
Yeah, this was one of your favorites. So if you want to talk about why it was your favorite, Paula.
No, well, it's a beautiful quilt. I love all that. And I showed you I sent you two other photos that, I don't know if you have them in there, that are virtually the same look. So I decided to send those because when I look through all of the quilts, this shape stands out to me the most, and I'm drawn to these types of quilts. So I don't know if it's the busyness. I think it has a little to do with the black and white elements. A lot of these quilts, and the three that I did pick out that they don't look similar, but they're in the similar square shape, maybe because it's contained. I feel like the boxes are more contained, but they also use a lot of black and white in them to kind of set them off. So I don't know, but everyone I showed you, I'm like, wow, I got a theme going here.
When we see, so I have, after some of these photos, I asked a few members to send me some of their favorites, and Paula's, you can see, were similar. So here is one of the home pages for on the website. I just took a quick screenshot to show you. When you clicked on the quilt show, it pulled up all of the quilts in this manner, and you could make them smaller, make them bigger, and then see on the right, you could search for a quilt. If you knew its name or its maker, you could search for a quilt and find it on the website. So it was super interactive. I found it easy to use. I wanted to say at some point I was probably able to see more quilts than I could in this virtual show than I could have at the physical show. But there were still quilts. I felt like I spent an enormous amount of time looking at the quilts, but still when the People's Choice quilt was announced, I never saw that quilt. I would tell you I didn't notice that quilt. And even when some people showed me their favorites. So this is just an example where you could have typed in a maker's name and you would have seen all of the quilts that they entered for the show that got in. So these are mine.
Cool.
I love the gray and white one in the middle. That's really lovely.
Thanks. I think it's right behind me. I kind of wanted the top one to win because it had a nice story. This little quilt on the top is like, I think it's 22 by 24 or something. And I entered it the last year for last year's QuiltCon and it was rejected. So in my mind, I had this great Instagram post about I was gonna write if that won an award, like don't give up, you know? So it was a QuiltCon reject and it did get juried in though. So if you ever have a quilt that gets rejected in a show, you can try another show if you're a fan of doing that, or try again in QuiltCon. So don't give up if you have a passion for your own specific quilt. So I did, like I said, ask several guild members to send me a picture of their favorite quilts. So here's one of Paula's, the Improv Log Cabin by Julie Wang.
Yeah, it looks like the other one.
And it does. It has the same 4-block and brightness as the other one. Where's Taipei City?
Taipei, Taiwan. I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's in
Yeah, I
Asia.
think it's Taiwan.
She's from Taiwan. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about the show. It felt like there was, you were able to see a great deal more international guild members. And during the lectures you could open up the chat. So you would see the running chat during the lecture time, the real-time chat. And there was at the beginning of every lecture, people would say, I'm from Utah, I'm from California, I'm from wherever. And so many people said that, or I don't know how many people were first-time participants. It just felt like there was a lot of first-time participants.
Wow.
So Paula, I have to tell you, when I saw this quilt, and every time I see it now with the title, it's called From Above. When my husband was in the military, he was in a unit and the unit had a motto called Death from Above.
Oh, great.
Well, it was airborne. So this reminds me now of that because it has a lot of black in it and the brown of the ground. So
Yeah.
I call it in my brain Death from Above.
That's cool. You can see all that black and white. I don't know what it is, but I love it.
Yeah, and I like that she used a lot of hand dyed.
Yeah.
Oh, Paula, you like a lot of very unstructured stuff, it looks like.
Yeah, I do.
Like
I do. But you know what? I still like them to be contained. It's weird. I don't like stuff that kind of goes off the edge as much. I don't think. That's why I like these like boxes almost. I'm very drawn to the sections. As long as it's unstructured in a section, I like it. So, anyway.
Unstructured.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a little blurry. This is my sister, Sandra Faye. One of her favorites was cloud surfing. And that bright orange color was just fabulous. Here's the back and the write-up of the quilt. That's just showing you that you could flip the quilt when you looked at it and see the back. And sometimes, I think this is the only quilt picture in the show that I saw that was not an up-close photo, but taken far away like that. This quilt is by Shannon Fraser of Canada. Thought a lot of Canadians were also participating in the show this year. Sandy, are you here today, Sandy? I'm gonna text her real quick because I always do every week when or every month when we have the guild meeting, I text her and I say guild meeting to remind her. So I'm gonna text her real quick, and if she comes on, anybody sees her, we'll see if she has any comments. But here is her second favorite, or maybe not her second favorite, her other favorite. And this quilt is by Erica Eccles from Colorado. And she called it Lift. I'm going to read this one because I really like what she wrote. I believe that in empowering women, you do empower everybody else, because you lift up a woman, she lifts up the rest of her family and her community and her society and her economy. And so this is absolutely about lifting up women and lifting up people of color. We have to do it, Melinda Gates. That's the quote. And if you didn't know, this is Women's History Month.
Mhm. And did you post the quilt yet? Can we see it?
I'll go back to it. Yeah. Whoops.
I'm sorry, I can't see it.
You can't see it. Can you not see Paula at the bottom right?
Nope.
Like here, I'm gonna ask the participants a real quick question or two. So unmute yourself to answer. So right here, I have a full picture of the quilt. And then if I go to the next PowerPoint slide, I have the quilt on the bottom right. Do you not see that?
Yes.
Yes, it's there.
It's there.
It's there, but
Now,
but
it's,
you're in front of it.
it's here. It's on a scroll bar at the top of my screen. It's,
Okay.
whatever.
I'm in front of it. You so how you view the PowerPoint is up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Like someone said I'm in front of it, but if you change your view on the top right.
I got it. Swap video and viewed screen. There you go. We got it.
All right. So,
Wow.
Ashley Gutschak, are you here today?
Oh my God.
Shutter
Well,
one.
Wow.
You like
Did
that?
anyone else watch the video that they had an interview with the man who made this on how he made it? Because it was very interesting.
Mm.
He actually made two quilts, a purple one and a tan one.
Oh, I did see
Oh,
that.
I see. Oh, I see.
And then he called it hovering quilting, where he just cut those big circles and stitched them with raw edges to put together the two quilts. It's actually a two quilt exhibit he has now, because there's the one that's the other with the purple in the middle and, tan wedges.
So you can read his story there. And so if you don't recognize Peter's name, his quilt was best in show last year. And I think he had a quilting award too. And I don't remember if it was domestic or long arm. So he won 2 major awards last year. And he's known for, this, what does he call it? Hover stitching, which is,
What is that?
it's just a form of raw edge that he calls hover stitching.
And somebody sent me Ben Hunt's IG address, so I have it. Thank you.
Wow. Well, what is it? Tell the rest of us.
Oh, hang on. I just put it in here. Hang on, let me pull it back up again.
Well, I thought
I
it was
put it in the
Darby.
chat.
Okay.
It's in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, so his hover stitching is, I see Mary Smart's hand raised.
No, I was just looking at the chat to see, because I think we were looking for Ben Darby.
Yeah.
Instead of Ben Hunt. I mean, I'm not trying to make trouble here.
Oh, Mary Smart, the troublemaker.
Yeah. So here's.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think that this is Ben Darby, though. He's the one that had the Corona rings quilt, right? The Corona.
This is Peter Byrne.
So the quilt on the screen right now is Peter Byrne, but the Corona wedding one is who we're looking for his Instagram. And I'm just gonna go back to his quilt real quick so we don't, so we know we're all on the same page a little bit. So here's Ben Darby,
Yeah.
and that's whose Instagram handle we were looking for.
Yes, and I believe that's the one that is in the his is Hunt's Patch Quilts.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Because Hunt's like Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
in Huntsville.
Thanks so much.
Hey, Deborah,
Yes.
does your screen show that the meeting's being recorded?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good.
it does.
Thank you. I just want to check because it's not showing on my side. Sorry.
It is.
Just checking. Okay,
Alright.
thanks. Bye.
Okay, don't want to, I'm going to zip forward to wherever we were, and it was,
There.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Ashley loved the pattern of this Peter Byrne quilt, and you can clearly see the detailed quilting on the back, and the range of color gives a watercolor effect. Here's the back. I'm just going to go back one to see. Yeah, so since this is not an award-winning quilt, I don't know where you could find it. I don't know. I was going to ask that question if they have every quilt or just the award-winning quilts, but here's another favorite by Ashley. Do I have a big picture of it? Sorry to go back and forth. Here it is. Ashley's other favorite finger paints. I really liked this quilt too, and I looked at this maker, Laura Lowen, and I think I remember that she had 3 really bright, colorful quilts juried into the show this year. And I also like that she had white linen binding. Mm-hmm. Anybody have any favorites of what we've seen so far? Don't all speak at once.
It's funny because
Ben Darby.
all the ones that you've shown so far, none of the ones that I saved.
None of the ones that you
Excuse
saved?
me, except for that everything, the ring one.
Oh, yeah.
My favorites are Deborah's.
Yeah, I did save all of those.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's gorgeous.
So this was just a quilt that I liked. I don't know if I had a favorite. I had a hard time. I can't even remember which one I voted for best for People's Choice because there were so many quilts that I liked. But each year there's several portrait quilts made of different techniques in each show. And this one was unique that to me. I mean, you see a lot of the patchwork kind of portrait quilts, but this one was quite unique to me. I just loved it.
Yeah.
I voted it for
I
best.
like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's a favorite of mine too. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Susan Devaney from Australia.
Look how clear the face is in the smaller picture. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And 3rd place for piecing she got there. Makes me want to see the original picture too.
Mm-hmm.
So here we come to some of Mary's favorites. This one is Still Not by Sean Kimber. If you're not familiar with Sean, she's a very prolific quilter as well as a math professor. if you have ever listened to her, she has the best voice, sweetest voice ever. Just that high little voice. And I've met her in person a couple times. Sweetest woman ever. Very notable and knowledgeable about Black history and women Black history. If you don't follow her, her Instagram is Couchy Complete, CAUCHY COMPLETE. That has some sort of a math reason to it that I don't understand.
She's a math professor.
Right. But I don't know what Couchy Complete means. So, but it has some sort of math reference. And she received an award of quilting excellence for this particular quilt. But she's a multi-award winner too.
Just because a lot of people have seen it, she is also the one who made the one for Eric G that says, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. However, he said it.
Right. And she speaks not just to Black, but to women. She has a quilt that she talked about, that I heard her talk about. It's a big quilt. And in the middle, it says legit, LEGIT, rape here. And since she is a female Black teacher at a university, a lot of women come to her that have been attacked or raped on college campuses. And she's heard that term that boys, because they're, or young men would say it was legitimate or something. So that's where that, so she's very a socially conscious quilter. One last look at the quilt. It's not the best picture for me, but sorry. It's also known for tiny piecing.
It's amazing to me how many quilters are mathematicians and engineers and that sort of thing.
Yeah. This is Morgan Crew's favorite, Isolation. Are you here today, Morgan?
I'm sure she's at work and probably not able to be on.
So she liked this quilt by Michelle Wilkie, who was the previous board member for the Modern Quilt Guild.
One of the things Morgan said she liked about it was the quilting reminded her of those Zen gardens. It's, if you look at the quilting again, it's very,
yes.
Yeah.
I see that.
Love that quilting.
That had a really neat story how she did that. I thought that was, yeah. The quilting really did accent that.
I think it was a brave choice on binding too. Or in my book, it's brave when you don't match it up. Another of Morgan's favorite one that I also liked, this quilt is called Isolation by Nancy Lambert.
A lot of isolation going on this year in quilting.
Yeah, well, imagine that. Can't see the quilting too defined because of the photo, but I can't even imagine piecing this thing.
No, or planning it, but more than in a better picture, it really looks 3D. This one is the most 3D looking quilt I think I've ever seen. That the oval in that has the larger pieces, when you were looking at it at the quilt show, when I was looking at it, it looks sort of puffy, rounded at the bottom of this vortex that's going down.
Yeah.
It's like falling in a hole.
Yeah.
I think maybe with the smaller picture here, you can see the 3D effect better. Yep. Excuse me. And that's it. Is there anyone who wants to view another quilt real quick? You want to go back to review or talk about another one?
And one that we've already seen, or one in the whole show,
Well,
or a winner?
you can talk about any of you want, but if I have the photo of it here, I'll show it.
Okay, one of them that I just thought was very interesting is called Right Matters. It's black and white. It's white text on a black background, because the woman who did it had to design each of those letters. There, it's not one font at all. And she had to make it up to make it the way it is. I just found that very interesting. I've always been intrigued by text on prints. And that one is a reference to the quilt from that Colonel Vinman. But it's it's just, to see the quilt, you would see that her text isn't just a straight text. It's just, she's made up each letter, the shape of each one. So they're very unique.
Hey, Deborah.
Yeah.
Before everyone got online, you were talking a little bit about your experience, and I kind of missed some of it. Did you have a good experience teaching? Did you think the virtual format worked out? I know I took 2 classes, but how did you like it? How did you think it went? Did you get feedback?
Actually, I didn't get my survey back yet, so I don't have feedback back. Just a couple things online that they felt like my techniques were something that they haven't heard of before. So that was kind of my goal, was to create something a little bit unique. And so I haven't had any official feedback yet. No. I was able to watch it myself, and I was pleased with how they snipped everything together. I was saying earlier that I recorded it in August because I wanted to be one of the first to get my recordings finished, to hopefully get feedback before everybody else came pouring in, and to get it sort of out of the way. So I would do it again if I had the time to do a virtual class like that, if I had some help with technology, because the thing that they helped with was snipping everything together. So.
Editing it together, you mean? Yeah, editing it. So did they give you a time frame? Like you had to do it within a certain time frame?
Yeah, so when you're a faculty member at QuiltCon, we had a separate website called Harvester. And you're assigned that pretty much as soon as you find out that you're a faculty member for the following year. Even before this, there was Harvester. So you go into Harvester and it said like January 1st, this is due. January 2nd, your handouts are due. January, making up dates. July 1st, your supply list is due. And so we would go into Harvester and know what was due when. And then that's also where we went, like, if you participated and you could email your teacher a question during the class time, it was only open during QuiltCon. Harvester was where we went to answer those questions as well.
Well, that's funny because I asked my instructor a question, but I never heard back from her.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, I know they're busy and stuff. I'm not going to take it personally, but I just wanted to, did anyone else take classes? Because my experience was, it's pretty good. The one class I did take though, it seemed like she had a lot more information she needed to put into the time frame. And so it was the way they edited it together, it was very quick. I had a hard time following her because it wasn't like a natural pace of speaking. It was more of like she was reading right from cue cards. And it's not necessarily a criticism. She had a lot of information to get in, but I found it to be just, you could tell where they were editing it. And so it just went, really, really quick. And I kept having to.
Did you want to share who your teacher was or not?
Yeah, she was great. I mean, I sent her an email and everything. It was Krista Watson. And I'm sure she has a lot of information, and I figure it's probably a time frame thing, but you know, it was just boom, 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 boom. So I don't know. I just wondered.
Was there any live talking at all, or was it all recorded?
Yeah, so at the end of every lecture, at the last 10 minutes of every lecture was a live Q&A. And if you paid for the Q&A with your class, that was live as well.
Okay. Pam said she took several classes. Do you have any comments, Pam?
I found the classes were good. I just think that one of the classes I did, I think I could have used some notes from the teacher a little more. It was more like I either had to, look at the video and write things down. A few people referred to their books. I did make some comments. I think all the teachers, if I made a comment or I looked and saw if other people made comments, I saw that in their classes. And a few people had books. The only thing that I got, I know at one of the classes, I had a particular ruler and she mentioned everything she was using before. And then during the class, she mentioned this other ruler. I just wish she had said it when she was given the list. And one person, I think when QuiltCon first came out, they kind of gave a general list. And then about 2 weeks later, or before QuiltCon opened, she kind of emailed everybody. It's like, here, go to my website. Now you need to purchase all these things, which, I had kind of purchased earlier saying, okay, this is what I need. And then, 2 weeks before, and then I kind of thought, with everything that happened in Texas, that if it happened probably like a week prior, we wouldn't have gotten anything we would have ordered from this person.
Yeah.
You
I'm sure it's difficult this year just to put anything on. I'm pleased with whatever they did. Melissa said she took some classes but does everybody know they announced QuiltCon is going to be back in Atlanta in 2 years, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can, oh, I'm going to Phoenix next year for sure.
Well, one of the things that they did announce at the closing ceremony was that it was Atlanta, but also that the guild did not, I think we received zero, we paid out zero for canceling QuiltCon in Atlanta.
That's great.
Because we rebooked it for 2020.
That's how it ended up back up there then. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that was huge because there were what do you call it? Deposits that they could have kept. And I don't know the whole ins and outs, but as far as I understand, we didn't lose any funds. The guild didn't pay out any funds for canceling Atlanta, because you have to book even though they just announced Phoenix and they just announced Atlanta, it's about 2.5 years out that you have to book a conference.
Yeah. They're fun though if you get to go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I will be curious if they keep or what they're going to keep. It sounded like they are going to have some kind of virtual aspect that they will keep doing. And I do hope they do that, because I am not going to fly to Phoenix. So I would love to see the quilt show, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Maybe even offer some classes that way. The thing I liked I only took one class. I took a tour, a lecture, and a class, was that I could go back and watch it as many times as I wanted to until Wednesday night, I think it was. And I only went back once, but I thought that was useful if, that you could do that. And I think Morgan took 3 classes. I know she went back and rewatched 2 of them.
Yeah, I took a class by Latifa Safir, who happens to be next year's lecturer. And so I missed, because it was a what do you call it? The longer class. I had 2 question and answer sessions, but unfortunately I missed the first one. But I thought that it was a great experience. There was one part in her video that was missing something, like it was edited incorrectly, but they went back, fixed it, and let us know that we could rewatch it and see it if we wanted to.
Great.
And I would recommend, I mean, even if you don't take a class or whatever, it was only $8 in advance to attend the show. And, you did get a lot of content that, was worth it. And, yeah, and
Yeah.
looking at the quilts themselves, like, if they're only going to publish the winners, there, where there's a lot more quilts than that, that different people with different tastes would enjoy. And the pictures were phenomenal. Like Deborah was saying, if you just zoomed in on any part of that quilt, you could see the quilt, you could see the stitches, and it wasn't blurry. They were really, really high quality. So, I recommend, you pay that much for a quilt magazine, and these were just way better than that.
Yeah.
Well, and I was really happy because I was able to do what I had hoped. Morgan and I had thought we'd go to Atlanta, then we couldn't. So I encouraged her to sign up for QuiltCon. And we did a phone call, a cell phone call on speaker, and we went through the quilt show together, and it was fun to have some. We took 5.5 hours
Wow.
going through. And then a day or two later, we went back again just to look at some of them that we were still interested in. And so the virtual quilt show, I think, really worked really, really well. Because I don't think I would have spent 5.5 hours standing up, I might have done it over several days. But I think that worked really well.
Yeah,
that's a marvelous idea, because I would much rather do it with somebody than sitting looking at it by myself. Cool.
Great idea.
And I wasn't sure till it happened how it was going to be set up if we could both look at the same quilt at the same time. And that was very easy.
My sister and I did that because we'd gone to QuiltCon together last year. And it was easier to sit for 5.5 hours looking at those quilts than for 3 days to make sure you saw them all.
It was.
One of the things that I did was I have Apple TV. So I put we both had lectures. So I put the lectures up on the TV and when we were looking at quilts sometimes up on the TV. And so it was the first time my whole family got to participate in the awards.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That is really nice.
They weren't impressed.
Mary, I have a question. Did you give them some feedback about how y'all did that for future reference? Because that is a good idea.
I'm pretty sure that I did put that in, because that was the one thing I was most hopeful about, was that, and honestly, I mean, my daughter happens to live in the house next door, but she could have been living in Alaska and we still could have done it. So that is really nifty.
So we're going to just do a 5 or 10 minute breakout room. And just continue chatting in some smaller groups. So Paula is going to take care of that.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Before we break out, can I say something?
Sure.
Two things. One thing is, don't forget that April 1st is the deadline for Carolina Oneto's class. That's number one. And number two, I don't know if you saw in the newsletter, but we're having our retreat at Ocean Walk again in November. So start saving your pennies now. You'll get more information, but we're excited about that. So November, I think it's 4th through 8th. We've got the reservation.
And then somebody asked me to show my quilt.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So I did actually, this quilt.
Deborah, if you go on speaker view, more people could see it.
Yeah, if you go on speaker view. So a few months ago, I actually taught a class using this very sampler quilt.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yes.
I have a video on Instagram of it coming together too.
And we also have that at our meeting. You showed the technique at our meeting, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that we had.
Yeah, that one.
We had it on
our YouTube channel. So if you
will you be teaching another class, Deborah, on that?
On this?
Yeah.
With our guild?
Yes.
I'm negotiating which class with Marge. So honestly, I'm waiting to find out. I've applied for 4 classes this next year, and to benefit me more than you, whatever classes get chosen, I'll need to practice. So I will be practicing on you all.
Perfect.
That sounds good.
I know Kathy's here, I think, but we just wanted to say the membership renewal is in the newsletter and on the blog and everything. So most of you have probably paid at this point, but if you haven't, membership renewal is going on till the end of March. So just a little reminder.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
So we're gonna do some breakout rooms for about 5 or 6 minutes, just to say hi to some people you might not get to know or get to chat with all the time, okay? So I'm gonna break us out and you get who you get, okay? We'll see what comes up.
Yeah.
All right. So I need
Don't
to
forget to
share
unmute
mine.
yourself.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Kathy. Hey, Pamela.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Looks like there's just 5 of us.
So what's the weather down there?
Warm and half rainy.
Some rain. Yes, some rain.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had rain yesterday and this morning.
Huge thunderstorm here this morning.
Yeah.
I'm in Colorado Springs, so I think the high today is going to be 52.
Nice.
Oh,
That's
man.
not bad.
It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous day. It's good to see everybody's faces. I miss you all.
Ah, it's good to see you too.
See you.
So what's everybody working on these days? Anybody want to share about their projects?
I just this morning finished a top for a king size quilt. It's going to be like 105 by 105.
Wow.
It's my first king size quilt, probably my only pieced king size quilt. It's got a long journey ahead of it still, but the piecing is done.
Excellent.
Will you quilt it yourself or do you send it out or?
I have a long arm, so I'll quilt it myself.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got a, like I said, it's got a long journey. It's all gray and stripes, and I have like multiple, like after I quilt it, I still have some top work to do on it. So it's a show hopeful. I think it's got some potential, but if not, it's my only quilt I ever made for my husband because it's shades of gray.
Anybody else?
I'm working on one of the.
I'm working on a quilt with a lot of embroidery from a young lady in Youngstown, Ohio. It's called Olive Grace Studio, and it's going to be a baby quilt. So
I'm working on one of the ones from QuiltCon, which was one of the classes I took was yo-yo. I think it was Y seams. It was Y seams, not cry seams.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on that. Actually, it's in front of me. I can show you.
Yeah.
Who taught that class?
I think her name is Ibby. I think she was from Canada. So like that's one of the blocks.
wow.
Cute.
So I've got a couple of different ones.
So how are you doing with those Y seams? They're not so bad, are they?
Actually, she kind of had a different method to teach us with this. I've never really done them that much.
Yeah.
I think I probably messed up the first one, but then after I did it, I figured out what she was doing. I think my method ended up being a little bit different than she did, like a flip method, and then I figured out how to do it. My flip method wasn't coming out the way she was saying. I ended up sewing the wrong side. But I worked it out. I'm not trying to, I've been laying this out on my dining room table trying to figure out how to get all the pieces because it was really just some like fat quarters other than the black, the brown, the gray and the 2 reds that I had were just some, sort of scrap pieces. She just kind of said, here, just try it. I think she got excited at the end and ended up saying, this might end up being like a twin size or queen size quilt that she was making and getting excited. So, so it wasn't like, here's a pattern, you should follow it this way. It was like, just cut out some pieces and see how you want to go with it. And she gave some ideas at the end. But I took a Sasco with Johnson. Is it Deborah Johnson?
I don't know.
And what's the other class I did? I did it was a piecing class, which was paper piecing, and you made like a sunburst. she did a lot of pieces, and then I don't think I had all the colors, and finally I found some material that I'm gonna end up just doing it as placemats, that I found like some fruits and vegetables that I had, and I was like, yeah, I need some new placemats for my kitchen table. So I think I'm just gonna do that and make 4 of those or so. And the other one was just free motion quilting. She was just teaching you different things on free motion quilting.
Wow.
So everybody either had a sheet or something, except the woman that really did the Y seams. She just kind of talked. I mean, she was good in what she did. I think at least a couple of the classes I could tell, like Deborah, you said how people pieced it together, that it wasn't something that somebody could just sit there and do in an hour or 2 hours. You know, one of the classes, it was like, okay, this will take you several hours to do. And
To record?
Not to record, but to actually make the quilt, or make even the sample that that they were teaching you to make.
Oh, okay.
That you needed time to either do it, especially the one that I did with the paper piecing, even though it was a sunburst. You know, she was trying to say, use your scraps and make it in different colors, is the way she did it. And I was doing that at first, and then I realized I'm spending too much time doing this. Let me just find some other material, and I'll just do a paper piece of it, and maybe another time I'll go back and look at scraps and do that.
Well, the tricky part to that tumbling blocks to me is that to get the shading right, because I get kind of fanatical about, you know, which side should be the darkest side, the shadowed side, and being consistent with that throughout the quilt. And when you're using different colors, keeping that value straight is a little bit tricky. And I
had that on the templates, and then she has a book too. So I said, okay, I can refer to it. And I got, you know, I got her book.
Yeah.
And then the templates did refer, like, there were 4 different, you know, this is A, B, C, and D. And then when she gave all the numbers, she showed you how to match them up. So if you did a light, a dark, and kind of gave you a little bit of color coding that you could do if you followed it the same pattern, you know, the same way that she did with the.
Of course, you can always use your phone. You know, use your phone with them, and then set it to black and white, so you get that value thing there. Yeah.
It was just my material that I had that I you know, I didn't want to just use it all in solids, and I was trying to kind of mix and match some prints and things. Yeah. One said I had enough, and others like, okay, I'll have to substitute something else.
It's the modern look. Yeah.
Yeah. My stash is too big that I was like, okay, for this project, I do not need to go buy my material.
And we won't tell anybody
that I gotta find in this room.
We won't tell anybody that you said your stash is too big. I've never.
My husband walks in and he jokes. He's like, "What is this? The little store you own?" My kids will go, "Yeah, Mom will buy material before she's thinking about buying clothes or other things."
That's the hardest thing about starting a new project, is the debate. Do I be good? Do I use my stash, or do I just buy new material?
Yeah.
When my kids were little, I remember somebody came to the door one time, and my son answered the door, and I was back in the house somewhere, and I heard him say, "My mom has a lot of fabric. Would you like some?" Like, what are you talking to? What are you doing?
That's funny.
Funny.
Oops, sorry, dogs.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else got any new projects?
I am always working on English paper piecing at night, and then I have I'm getting ready to quilt a my Tula Nova quilt. I have that done, and the back ready, and so I just need to quilt that one. And then I'm also doing the Nebula block of the month.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's fun. I'm on the 3rd month now, so that's been a fun little project to keep up with. But I have to work too, so it's kind of hard. I work at home, so I'm like always I'm in between meetings. Let me go sneak off and do a little quilting, but you know, it's hard finding the time. So
it is.
Yep. Do you have kids, Melissa?
I do. I have 2 daughters, 17 and 13.
Okay.
Oh, so they're a little more autonomous.
They are. I don't have to do so much mommy work now, but but busier with other work. So
yeah,
you know.
I work from home too. Yeah, that 40-hour job really takes a kink out of your quilting time.
It does. And then the issue really is the weekends. Then my husband wants to spend time doing stuff together because he's done with work. I'm like, oh, but it's my quilting day. And so that's always hard. But
I would like to tell you that when you're an empty nest, you'll have more time, but it's the 40-hour job really that really takes a toll into my quilting.
I mean,
Especially
I'm home, but I'm doing so many other things or started, it's not my quilting or actually I've been helping some friends. And then I had a friend that our whole family got COVID that I ended up spearheading, getting food to them. And I think this is a lot, they were better, at least nobody got hospitalized. And I just been like bringing food or coordinating with other people and, and sometimes that's, you guys all coordinate things and sometimes you're going like, okay, I said this, and the people think, oh, because you coordinate it, you have no time or you couldn't possibly be doing anything else. You say one time they're like, well, can't you come at this time?
And I have a neighbor who sidetracked me onto smocking for my 2-year-old granddaughter. So I've completed 4 smocking dresses, which is really not in my wheelhouse. So I spent a lot of time at that.
So we're losing our breakout room in 50 seconds.
All right, it looks like it.
Like it.
Oh, I have a quick question. Where do people buy fabric online that you've been consistently happy with?
Fat Quarter Shop and Pineapple Fabrics.
Pineapple, thank you.
And the sewing studios, also the one here in Maitland, they have online.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah, I've always liked their stuff. Thank you.
And I found out from a fabric place in Nashville that there's a quilt website, which is something like quilts.com. And if you're looking for like a motif fabric and you know the name and the number, they can find it for you anywhere in the world.
Okay, thanks.
I got a response from New Zealand.
Hi. Debbie Manuel. Debbie, can you introduce your guest to us today?
See, Pam Abrams, are you here?
I'm here.
There she is. Yeah, we've known each other for years in the school system, and she's Kate. I knew
Hi,
you.
Kate.
Pam is famous for miniature quilts and has been published. And
There's a birthday girl.
But I want you to know that that's what people talk about with me, but I really am much more eclectic than that. I keep claiming that. I've claimed that for years, but I just can't convince other people of it.
Are you on Instagram, Pam?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But she thought she'd try us. She said, I'm not that modern. I said, well, we have a whole group of different styles.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad that she joined today to check us out.
Thank you very much for letting me be a guest today. And I want you to know I have already printed out the new membership form.
Oh, all right. Hey, and on that note, Kathy, I don't think Kathy is actually online, but
yes, I am here now.
You are. We got 6 new members. That's amazing.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
So I don't know, were any of the new members at the meeting today?
I
If
don't think so. I sent them the information with the login, but everything has kind of been compressed the last couple of days. So
well, a couple of them told me they were working, so they wouldn't be able to attend.
They'll see it. They can see it recorded, and I'm going to send that follow-up information. But they've been added into MailChimp now. So 6. That's amazing. So
yes.
Yeah.
Paula, there was a question in the Sew Days about the Facebook posting. Do you have an idea of how many views those get? Because apparently there are some people who are truly following our meetings through Facebook only.
Well, we don't post it on Facebook. You mean YouTube?
YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We have the amount of people who have viewed it, but it's not by username. We can't find out who they are. I don't think there's a way to do that. But I noticed on one of we had 95 views.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
There might be a good portion of our membership even that's looking at them like that, or other people, I don't know.
Okay, good.
But yeah, 95. You can see the subscriber views and the views on there. So.
Oh, good. Okay. I just
Hey, a
wanted.
shout out to Paula and Dawn, I think, who redid the website. I gotta tell you guys, it's so slick.
Oh, thanks,
So
Mark.
get a chance to look at it. It's amazing.
Dawn
It's really
Vanderwolf-
beautiful.
Dawn Vanderwolf is she is a dynamo. I know you're on here, Dawn.
We're gonna keep her.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep her.
Yeah, Paula was the driver behind. I think I was just Paula's motivation, but Paula did all. Like she was the designer and did a lot of the stuff.
Only because you're new and you literally have no idea how we kind of do things. You haven't even been able to come to an in-person meeting yet. I'm telling you what, I'm going to have a cake and balloons for you when you come. But you're definitely in. So I'm excited. It was so nice to work with you. So yeah, the blog is looking good. We're keeping updated with it and I'm excited about it. So anyway.
There was a question about some online stores in our little chat. So I know I just put one in the chat, Sofinity. And if you do like Kona fabrics, they do sell it. Mary Smart got some nice ones from there, but I also had checked out her website was very nice.
It's an all solids shop.
Oh, wow.
Plus their shipping isn't just astronomical. It's reasonable. It's $5 flat shipping unless you buy $100 and it's free. So yeah, look what she bought.
Oh, wow.
Upside down, Debbie. I mean, Mary, it's upside down.
And what fun is that if you go to the rainbow page, they come in 9 different shades from almost black to pale pastels. I just thought it was.
Who is that again?
Sofinity, SEWFINITY.com.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah, it's right down there on the bottom, sofinity.com.
So just a quick announcement. Thanks, Paula. I just want to say welcome to everyone new. Goodbye, Melissa. I see that you're leaving, but so are we. We're not leaving. We're keeping the Zoom meeting open, but I'm going to press record to stop recording. And some of us are going to leave the session, but you're all welcome to stay in and chat.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can I wish Debbie Zopp a happy birthday?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, her hair's down. You usually have it in a ponytail on days, so you look pretty fancy here on your birthday.
She was